When TPS ends, the clock starts ticking, and overstaying can trigger years long bans from re entering to the US. In this episode, we break down the hidden consequences of doing nothing, also, why you can't rely on lawsuits to save your status, and the urgent steps you need to take now to protect your future.
So keep those in mind because, and also in many states like Texas, for example, your driver's license also expires when your status expires. And given that some of these TPS has been given the 60-day grace period, that also adds a whole other layer of component of confusion on how do you get a driver's license for just those 60 days. But that's a whole other story. So anyway, keep this in mind because employers who track eligibility on the work authorization will probably start reaching out and saying, we're going to have to let you go if you don't have work authorization. So these are going to be these uncomfortable conversations that are happening. Now, if a person is eligible for re-registration, please, by all means, go ahead and do that. But what we're focusing more is on those who the TPS isn't ending, and so keep that in mind. Now, if you overstay, let's say the TPS ends today, and you're over 18, well, you're accruing unlawful presence. And the reason why that matters is if you have more than 180 days of unlawful presence and you leave, you'll have a bar from coming back in. And then if you leave, if you have more than a year of unlawful presence and you leave, you have a 10-year bar from coming back in. So this can be, and also if you work illegally, that also can prevent you from being able to have a work-based visa in the future. So there's other things where maybe if you ever assisted anybody in coming into the country, they could bar you for alien smuggling. There's other things about like crimes and health and other issues like that. So just keep this in mind that overstaying is really problematic because many people have a U.S. citizen child who've been here a long time, but they don't have a U.S. citizen spouse or parent. And when you need the unlawful presence waiver, you need a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident spouse or parent or U.S. citizen fiance. So there's different groups out there, but I don't want to be negative, but like a lot of them are overwhelmed right now. So don't put all your hopes in that there's a nonprofit or organization that's going to be able to support you, especially with a timely situation. So reach out for help immediately. And definitely check reviews, a reputation of the group or firm that you're working with, because a lot of groups are very overwhelmed at this moment. And do they have the bandwidth to support? Do they have similar cases? Could they help assist you? Navigating that post-TPS options, they're complex. So if you remember anything I'm saying, make sure that you have a consultation with an experienced immigration attorney. And a lot of these consults are going to be evaluating all these different things I just said to see what you might be eligible for. And one of the things I briefly mentioned about humanitarian is that if you were to be a victim of a crime, a U visa, those years or so for an immigration court, that doesn't keep you from being not being deported, but it could be when the visa becomes available, you could come back. You might be a victim of trafficking and might not realize it, and the wait time is only about 2 years. You could also there could be Violence Against Women Act, as when we talk a little bit about family as a possibility too. And if you enter legally, usually just one time, then that you still would be eligible for VAWA if you have the qualifying relationship and the abuse that happened. So anyway, having a consult, having someone who knows this stuff and reviews your case thoroughly is so important. Staying informed, definitely. Things are changing minute to minute. The USCIS.gov website, and honestly, some of the news takes a little while to get out because it is confusing of all the different changes, including the bill that was passed last week on July 4th, signed into law. Has an impact on a lot of immigration factors, including fees, funding. We're still adjusting what that bill is how that's going to impact so many different aspects of immigration. So depending on what you're trying to do, the more evidence you have, the documentation, collecting that, being prepared, that is really important and it'll help. And so it is very unfortunate that many of these programs are ending, and the sooner that you can go have a consultation, evaluate. If you're thinking that there's going to be a lawsuit that's going to keep the TPS going, and that you're not going to do anything until you wait for that is the wrong approach. You should be assuming, and I don't like the word assume, but I'm going to use it here, that the lawsuit's not going to work, and that you need to put all your eggs in the basket of figuring out your backup plan. That's what you need to be doing. If the lawsuit works, awesome, but you need to be thinking in the sort of more of a worst case scenario, because your life is on the line, your family and your livelihood, and it is important to be proactive. So I know we might have some questions I can help answer, but just to let you know, for our firm, we're available. We're providing information on Facebook, X, Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram. We have a newsletter in English and Spanish every other week that provides a lot of information. And we can be reached at therubypowerslaw.com or our phone number. But we just wanted to be a resource for people during this time, because there's just so much going on. And hopefully that was helpful to give a good overview. And there could be something, I just want to say this too. You might have had a consult in the past where someone said, oh, you're not eligible for anything else, but things change. Things change for good, things change for bad, right? Worse. So there could be something you're eligible for now and that didn't exist before. Also, someone might have given you bad advice. So it's I think there's just it's just like if you have a rare medical condition, go to at least to a couple of doctors to get that second or third opinion. Don't, when you go to a private attorney or in nonprofits, that's confidential, that conversation. So don't be afraid that we're reporting it somewhere. No, we're not. This is I think sometimes people are afraid to find out things because they just know that they're avoiding the answer, that it might be really negative, or they're just afraid. But you're only making things worse if you postpone finding out the truth about your situation.
We have just talked about the dangers of overstaying after TPS ends and why relying on lawsuits could leave you with no options. But in the next episode, we look at the bigger picture, that why this policy shift is happening now after more than 25 years, and also the urgent steps you should take if you are directly affected.